Jerry and I would go deer hunting every November, October at no, fishing.
Gruber?
Camp Gruber, thank you. Camp Gruber. And usually it was Debbie's birthday, and she didn't like that. But anyway, we would hunt and then come back. That's what his vacation was. That was our vacation. That was a vacation. Okay, I got something else to say. Anyway, I made sourdough rolls for years, and then I moved here, and I no longer don't make them anymore. In fact, I have a granddaughter that makes better than I did. Anyway, Beth. Lacey was going to. She started one time, and that was too much. It was funny. But Beth makes better than I ever did. She makes good ones.
When was the first time you made them? How did you learn to make them? Not year, just how did you... You said...
First time I ever tried to make rolls, I invited my girlfriend, and she invited her boyfriend, and I invited my boyfriend, and those was the worst rolls you ever had in your life. But anyway, Norma Lou and Dylan.
But how did you learn? How did you learn to make them? Where did the famous sourdough rolls come
Mary,
from?
my sister-in-law, she made them for years, ever. Best ever. You never ate any, did you? Oh, you did? Okay. Because they moved to California so young. I mean, Dwayne was uncle before they moved. He was uncle at 7, something like that, 6. Yeah, he was uncle anyway. Mother died in 1975. Daddy stayed at the house for a while. We talked him into coming to Inola. But in the meantime, he married Beulah. They were married like 7 months, and she died. And so then, it was cold winter. See, he was out there, and it was cold, and he decided he didn't want that. He calls and he said, "Does that still stand?" Of course. So Donnie and Jerry, there was 3 of them. Anyway, went to Baxter and got him loaded up and hauled him back to our house, and he lived with me then for until he died. 5 years, I think, he lived with me. Gisson. And I got him interested in going to senior citizens. So I took him over to Claremore and introduced him and got him started over there. In my lands, they had senior citizens Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's how come when I started getting this one together, it was Tuesday and Thursday. So he'd have a place to go every day. The Riggs called me and wanted to know if I would help him get one started. I said, definitely. So that's how the senior citizens got started. We started seeing if anybody was interested, whatever. My goodness, they were. The first day we had almost 100 at the church. It was at the church because we didn't have any place. So the church had an annex, so we met in there, and that was right at 90 there the first day. And Mike Platt donated me a fern to give away as a door prize, and just stuff, everything came in effect. It just really fell together. We had cards, dominoes, and at that time, somebody'd come and sing or give a little program, or everybody sing. Yeah. when we first started, we had covered dish. And we'd meet like 9 to 3 or something. It was pretty good. And I was still working at the water office. I just happened to think about that. So I couldn't come till noon. I got off work at noon, so I would come at noon and take over. But I had some good help. You know what? It wasn't all that long because they was going to add on to the church, and that was going to take our meeting place. So I started looking for a place, and of course down here at Graham's was empty, so I went to the school board and asked them if we could have that. They said, yeah, for $1 a year. Anyway, May and I went to Veneta to Gateway, it's called, I think, and they said they would give us the money if we'd raise half of it. And they was going to give us $25,000, I guess, maybe 100. But anyway, I go back to the school board and told them that we wanted to buy it. And they said, why would you want to buy it when you're getting it for $1 a year? So that was a waste. So I said, because one day you're going to want to sell it and we won't have this money. Oh, no. It wasn't a year later till they wanted to sell it, and we didn't have the money. So I started walking the streets asking for money to build, donate. People donated carpet, they donated tile, work, everything. And so we got we got several thousand, and we started working on it. Oh, the lot, that lot, and I called the guy that owned it, which I knew forever, and he said, Bert, he said, everybody in town wants to buy that lot. And I said, listen, I said, that big tree on the corner, I said, can't you just see a bench under it with the people sitting on it? And, dead silence on the other end for a long time. He come back and he said, I tell you what, you're the only person I'd sell that to. Don't you tell anyone. And that's how we got the lot. The tile and the rug was all donated. This fella had a tile shop. And then he come one night and showed us how to lay the tile. And Connie and Rick was down there laying the tile. And Debbie was down there. Yeah. So anyway, we all chipped in. We had an auction. It was called a bazaar, I think it was, something like that. And the people donated stuff to sell. Out there in the barn, we had a big auction in that round covered barn. That was Cummins. Yeah, and we had a big auction. We did a lot of auctions and stuff. And then the bank said they would loan us the money, what they needed. So that was taken care of. Then he retired, and Jerry retired, and we built a house at Flint Ridge. And I made like 3 trips a week so they wouldn't make a mistake. And they did one time, they had to undo it, and he said, don't do that. And I said, hey, this is my house, I'm gonna build it the way I want it. No, they put that sliding door in the wrong place, and I wouldn't have had room for my buffet. I had it all measured. That Ridge Church was started in the roundhouse, and we'd meet on Sunday morning early before the salesmen could come. So I made cinnamon rolls to have coffee and cinnamon rolls for the people to come and have coffee and cinnamon rolls. And then we'd be through by 11, I guess it was. I guess we met at 9:30, something like that. And I made cinnamon rolls for it for 3 years. And then we was getting all this money collected, and we said, oh, we could start building a church. Well, they just laughed at us, the Flint Ridge office, when we told them we wanted a lot to build a church. They thought that was funny. But anyway, we kept on. We had over $20,000, so we go back. We said, we got this money, will you give us a lot? So they finally gave us a lot up by the tower. Then we really had something to go on. And we built the church, all but the annex, and we still had money, and it was coming in. So the builder said, well, it's like this, before we add this side to it, if you want to build the annex, then this would be a good time. So that sounded good. So we built the annex and had the church paid for by the time we was through. About 12 years. And then he was sick so much and we was having to go to Tulsa, so we started looking for a place closer. And I liked the one at Paradise View. And so that was my pick, and I kept showing other houses. And we wound up at Paradise View and lived there about 12 years, I think. Well, the address was Shoto, but it was called Paradise View. And it was on the lake. We had a pontoon.
I do remember.
Yeah.
I was there once.
Well, we had one, though, at the new house, and we'd go to Uchi. Okay. Yeah, because it just took like 15 minutes to get down there. So we'd go to Uchi because we left it in there and go down there. Then when he got so sick, we decided to get closer to Tulsa and the kids over. And that's when we found one at Paradise View. Lived there about, I think, 12 years. Maybe not. Damon knows, he was down there a lot. When we lived in the new addition, we'd go down to the Shoto Bend and all that, put our boat in and go. And we met this couple down there, of course. I was skiing. I was in the boat, and these 3 skiers went by, sprayed me, and I said, woo, I almost drowned. Well, we turned around. Just as they turned around, I went over the wake, and it threw me out of the boat. And so I couldn't swim. But that summer, Jerry had been trying to teach the girls how to swim, and he'd tell them, just act like you're
Paddling like a dog.
You don't paddling, yeah, something. Just wiggle your feet, yeah. So when I fell out, I could actually hear his voice telling me to wiggle my feet, and I stayed afloat till he went down and turned around. He seen me, but he didn't think it was me. He thought it was somebody trying to swim across the channel.
You guys had been working, he'd been working on the boat.
Yeah, and got it back.
And he went and made a U.
Yeah.
And then when you had to, when you got there, he had to run up the...
To see if it'd work.
You have to run up a deal real...
Yeah.
A hill.
To our trailer.
And so he didn't know she fell out.
I could see him get out of the boat, go up the boat, and here I am in the water, you know.
But he never do it because he had to get out of the boat, run up the hill.
And then he put on his swimming shorts, and so it was, I stayed afloat quite a while. And he come back, he seen me, but he didn't recognize me because I was black, you know. So, but he seen I had a red top on, and he knew I had a red shirt on. So I got out, and he got me in the back of we had a station wagon, laid me in the back of the station wagon. Oh, when he laid me down, I couldn't hardly stand it because that water was choking me. But anyway, we got going, went to Pryor. He ran every stop sign going down Main Street. And so this policeman started following us. I didn't know it. Anyway, we got to the hospital. This is before air conditioning. We got to the hospital, and they examined me and pumped the water out of me. Well, first, out of the boat, this guy that had took a lesson at work, which worked at the same place Jerry did, but we didn't know it. And he pumped most of the water out of me, so that the doctor just had to try. So anyway, we met this couple, and they wanted to know if we knew any places that I know for sale. So we had just bought the 20 acres, and so we told them the one we didn't buy. So they bought it. Anyway, back to drowning. Hank and Shirley Green was our friends till we moved. He was pulling 3 boys, and we was pulling. Anyway, one of them fell off, so he turned around, and when he turned around is when I popped up. And he thought, is that somebody in trouble or just swimming across? They thought I was swimming across, but he kept looking at me. He decided I was in trouble, so he came over, and he pulled me in the boat, and I can remember to this day, it was painted white and it had little black specks. They had that for years in boats. And he put me over the front hull and pumped water out of me. And yeah, so. Oh yeah, he said if my hair had been an inch shorter, he couldn't have saved me. He just barely could hold on to my hair. Yeah. And pull me out. Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody in Inola knew about that. That's what he was afraid of too, because this is back in his drinking days. He said, you know, if you'd have fell out, they'd have hung me for murder.
Well, I mean, she should have drowned it because they would have thought he just left her out there.
Because he wouldn't have knew nothing. He was drunk. Yeah.